I wish I could, but I can't. I can't tell you what you want to hear in this video. And I have a good idea what that is. I do. It will go something like this. Don't worry about your gun rights, guys. We will win the battle. We'll have some rough spots, but overall, we will win. There will be no universal gun registration. There will be no felonies attached for non-compliance. There will be no confiscations. We will restore lost gun rights. Don't worry about it. Press on. That's what a lot of guys would like me to come in front of the camera and say. I could gain a lot of popularity by saying stuff like that. You know, just, hey, we're doing okay. Don't worry about it. Press on. Because I'm telling guys what they want to hear. And a lot of YouTubers tell people what they want to hear. Not what they need to hear, not reality, but what they want to hear. So you can bail out of this video right now. I don't care. You don't have to watch it. This video actually holds zero value for me. I'm just doing it to answer TMPers' questions. They want to know what I'm thinking on this subject. Here you go. You've rubbed the lamp and here comes a genie. And I have some stuff to say on the subject and you may not like it. You may not like it. It may be very disturbing to you of why we are in the situation we are in. It's legitimate. It's not designed to be salacious. This is not a clickbait title. I will put it, the title will be something along the lines of why we will lose our gun rights in the United States of America. It's legitimate. I have 10 talking points of why I think that will happen. Not if, it will happen. Never too late to bail though. Never too late. Now know this. Right now when I'm filming this video, things are pretty chill. We've had no mass shootings. There is gun legislation in play. I should say anti-gun legislation in play, but nothing huge. It's kind of a lull. So everything I'm talking about is technically theoretical. Okay, the guns on the back wall are entirely legal to own. When I'm filming this video, I don't have to register them. I live in a free state. I can do private to private transfers. I can sell it to a guy off the street if I want. That top AK, I just, advertise, and then the guy shows up. Says, hey, here you go. Exchange money, completely legal. What I'm doing is looking into the future. Using my knowledge about history, politics, life experience, and doing some predictions for you. They could be completely wrong. It's an opinion piece. It's an entertainment piece. But guys are asking over and over again. They want a political video from me. Here it is. Why I think we will lose our gun rights in the U.S. I know. I wish it was upbeat. I wish it was fun. I wish I could say that stuff in the megaphone, honestly, but I can't. I could come up with 50 reasons why, but I've narrowed it down to 10. It will be all I can do to get this, just over an hour. There's so much to discuss. Okay, and it's going to be kind of illuminating to, I think, a lot of people of why we are in this situation, of how in the world do we have to worry about losing our natural God-given rights to self-defense in the U.S.? How did we get here? This is a U.S. freaking A, right? It is. We have natural God-given rights of self-defense, self-preservation, defense of property. Yes, yes, and yes. They are acknowledged and protected in our Constitution, written by our wise founding fathers. Correct. So what do we have to worry about? A lot. A lot. Things are changing. You know this. You sense it. You sense the momentum on the left, the progressives, the protectionists, as I've always called them. And to discuss this stuff, I have to be brutally honest. Guys are asking my opinion. They've rubbed the lamp. Here we go. You're going to get my opinions on this. And no apologies. I'm sorry. My opinions are just that. You're not going to change them. So if I say something that upsets you, please just relax. Okay, relax. Don't waste time typing out some rant. I'm never going to see it. I'm on to the next project. I have 1,000 reviews to do. I won't see it. You're never, even if I did, you're not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to read a comment under this video and go, oh, wow, I'm completely wrong. I need to do what this guy says. Doesn't work that way. If you feel differently, make a video, post it yourself. You know, good luck. I'm all for it. I'm completely supportive of the First Amendment as well, as we all should be. Everybody should have an option of expressing his or her opinion honestly, forthrightly, even if it's sometimes caustic and upsetting to others. That's what the First Amendment is all about. Now, we all believe in the same thing as gun owners. Generally speaking, you're on this video because you believe that you have the right to keep and bear arms that should be uninfringed. True or false? True. Just like me, I believe exactly the same thing. You are enraged that we've had some of those Second Amendment rights, I don't know, bartered away. True or false? True. I feel the same way. What we may differ on is how we go from here. What is the political process that we can engage in to preserve what we have and maybe in some long shot process, restore what we've lost? Okay? In agreement. So everybody that's in this video, I shouldn't say everybody, but most people that will show up to this video are in agreement with you. The tactics may differ. How we get there may differ. The organizations we support may differ, but our goals are the same. Keep that in mind. We're brothers and sisters. Okay, and that's its own talking point that I'm going to get to later in the video. We're brothers and sisters. We are of one mind. So don't waste time in hate, anger, rage against a Second Amendment brother. It just doesn't make sense. Save it for the left. Save it for the battles, the political battles that are to come and that are going on right now. That's where you should direct your focus. Okay, I've said this before in other videos. And if you're new to TMP, you can go back, 12 years, and you'll see a whole string of political videos on this subject. Gun rights, Second Amendment rights, politics, what's going on in this country, calls to action, many videos posted. I've stood up in front of this camera many times and done political videos. Now, I've basically stopped doing political videos for a good reason, and that reason comes to one word, summarized by one word: value. There's really no value in it in today's political climate for me to come in front of the camera, do a political video. Do I have a huge subscriber base? No. Huge would be inappropriate for as long as I've been doing this. I don't know, I should have 3 million subscribers. I'm not even close. I'm like 800,000. I haven't even broken 1 million. It's weak. It's tiny. It's imperceptible in the world of politics. It's a joke. I'm just telling you what my political influence is. I have none. And of those fictitious 3 million subscribers, I would need them to be extremely active in all the videos. Knife reviews, multi-tool reviews, gun reviews, clothing reviews, adventures, motorcycle videos, boating videos. 1 million views within a week. That's not unreasonable. That's like 1/3 of that fictitious subscriber base. Not even close. Then as a creator, I'd go, oh, cool. I got a very active, engaged subscriber base. Maybe I can do some CTAs. Maybe I can, with that amount of people active, affect some political change. I can't. I can't. On a state level, federal level, forget it. I'm just being honest. Just being honest with you guys. I don't have that power. There's no value in it. So what I'll end up doing, making a political video, low engagement, 1% to 2% from the subscriber base, which is paltry. Piss off some people. They leave TMP. They hate on me. I might, jeopardize my whole standing with YouTube by doing it. Maybe this video will as well. Why? There's no value in it. So I put them on the back burner. I'm not going to say I will never do political videos, but I'm so busy with reviews, putting stuff on the tabletop here in the bunker, out in the field for your systems, not just guns. I'm not a gun tuber. I'm a gear adventure channel. All the things that, for constitutional law enforcement, good military folks, good civilian sheepdogs need for their systems. That's my primary focus. It has been and it will be. That being said, I retain a nuclear option. Get in front of the camera. This is what I see. Maybe it's a CTA, short notice. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't do that many. I will do this video to answer the many calls to do so and where I sit on the current issues on, I don't know, today's political scene. Now, as a gun owner, you can choose to live in two different worlds. In this world, it's fantasy world. There's a lot of gun owners, bless their hearts, that find themselves in that world. They're in a fantasy world. They want things to be a certain way. And they're not that way, but they're going to pretend they are that way. And they will choose to be, I don't know, politically inactive, non-participatory in the process because of this. Or you can choose, as I do, to be in the world of reality. As bleak as that reality may be, and it may be bleak, but it's like a wound. You know, so if I'm a paramedic, I show up out on an accident scene. Guy's severely cut, deep gouge. You'll see some paramedics answering under this video probably. And I could, let's say he has road debris, infectious materials in the wound, and I choose not to clean it. And I just wrap it up. And let's say I'm an hour away from a hospital. And so that whole time that wound is perhaps getting infected. Is that the way you handle that gash? No, you got to get in there, clean it out, sanitize it, see what's going on, and fix the problem. You got to get under the hood. You got to accept reality. Because if you're working off a fictitious set of facts or fictitious perception of how things are, how are you going to affect change? It's like when I was an instructor pilot in the KC-135 in the U.S. Air Force. I would fly with guys and girls who sucked in the plane. They're awful. They couldn't fly. Their situational awareness was bad. They couldn't hand fly. They were always behind the aircraft. It was a mess. But the guys and gals that I flew with that showed improvement would take an honest assessment of where they were. And they would go, you know what? I didn't do so good, and this is why. And I'd be at the table, the debriefing table, I'm going, yes, that's right. Now, how do we improve? So we get into the wound, we clean it, we dress it up, we stitch it up, and we start healing, and we get better. That's what we have to do in the United States of America pertaining to gun rights. Establish and understand the realities of the situations. That's what this video is about. Are you ready? It's never too late to stop watching. And I don't really care if you watch. I don't. Again, it doesn't hold any value for me personally. I'm just doing this as a service to my beloved team peers. Guys and gals who have been with me for a long time, they want to know my thoughts. Here we go. 10 reasons why. Are you still here? Did you leave? You're still here. Cool. I knew you would be. 10 reasons why I think we will lose our gun rights in the United States of America, or at least get them severely curtailed. Are you ready? In no particular order. Okay, and I mean that. I mean, like the first one is not the most important one. It's just one of the talking points. Again, it's my opinion. Could be right, could be wrong. Who knows? Number one, broken families. You didn't see that coming, did you? Who else talks about this? Well, to be honest, no one's talking about what I'm talking about here. You know, I haven't seen anywhere why we're going to lose our gun rights in the U.S. These 10 points, I haven't seen it anywhere. So here, me, a geared venture channel, not a gun tuber, but a geared venture channel, I'll make the video. I'm going to step up to the plate, take a couple swings. Here we go. Yeah, bad parenting and broken families. That is huge as to why we find ourselves in this situation. Now, the left, and yes, it is the left, has attacked the traditional family for decades. They hate the traditional family. Mom, dad, children, loving parents, raising their children, they don't like it. I'm not here to tell you the traditional family is the only way to properly raise and teach children values and good things. There's a lot of non-traditional families that do that. But someone in that family has to be the guardian. Someone has to instill these work principles, these values into these children, and show them, more importantly, love. And I've talked about this so many times in videos. Parents have to love their children. Without love, without that bond in a family, there's going to be a dissolution. If a family is interjected with a sense of selfishness, whether it's the mom, the dad, they're selfish, they go out, they sleep around on their companions, they break the family up, it's not going to work. What does work and has worked for the United States of America for many, many years is the traditional family, the building block and the foundation of our society. If you want to fix America, as I've said, fix the family. Reinforce the family. Are we talking about guns? Yeah, in a sense we are. We're talking about dangerous things. I have a video on that too, look it up. I'm talking about guns. But it's not really about guns. It's about the family. It's about a value system. It's about love and concern for your fellow man. It's about a sense of purpose in life. It's about a sense of direction instilled by good parents or good guardians. Might be an aunt, might be an uncle, might be a grandfather, might be whoever, but they got custody of those children and they're going to do it right. And there's lots and lots, I'm talking millions of awesome people who have been raised by non-traditional families. So I'm not just saying traditional family is the only way to do it. I'm in favor of it, but there's other ways to get it done as long as these things are taught and modeled in the family. If that's lacking, and it is lacking, and it's really reached epidemic proportions in this society, then here's what's going to happen. You're going to have disaffected children growing up to be adults. They're not going to have a sense of purpose. They're not going to have a sense of direction. They have no real relationship either with their mother, either with their father, or perhaps with both. And that leads to bad things. It could lead to mass shooters. Sometimes. That's a talking point we're going to come back to. It, in the very least, leads to apathy pertaining to the gun issue. I'll give you an example. Mrs. Nut and Fancy and I have been together for over 3 decades, happily married. We are a traditional family. Yes, I practice what I preach. Have we had problems? Yes, absolutely. Have we made it through those problems? Yes, absolutely. Do we love each other? Totally. Do we get along? Yes. We do have our moments. You do too. But mostly we get along great. One reason, and this is just one reason, Mrs. Nut and Fancy is so incredibly awesome is because of her family. Her mom, her dad. And I'll say this right now, first time I've ever said this on camera. It's primarily due to her father, not her mom. Her dad. Her dad was a salt of the earth kind of farmer guy from central Utah. You know, good guy, hard worker, he had a temper. He didn't put up with any crap from any of the kids. You know, their family has 5 kids in it, 2 brothers, 3 daughters. And dad raised them right. Taught them how to work, gave them chores, held them accountable. Taught them responsibilities, exposed them to all sorts of cool outdoor things. Riding 4-wheelers, riding in the boat, working on the farm, shooting guns, hunting. That's how Mrs. Nut and Fancy was raised. So she's a pro-gun gal. Why? Because of her dad. Because of her dad. Because how she was raised. That's why. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. So Mrs. Nut and Fancy, and I just came to realize this within the last year. I told her, I was like, the reason you're so awesome, yes, you have a very cool personality. I give you that. You were made that way. But your value system, that came from your dad. You know? Does Mrs. Nut and Fancy have a problem that I have guns? I mean, long before TMP. Well, yeah, when I was a poor college student, I've shared those experiences. Like I would spend money that we really couldn't afford to spend at the time. SIG 226 when I was a poor college student, Glock 19 when I was a poor college student. Yeah, she got pissed in, but it wasn't because she was anti-gun. It was just financial. It's like, that's a dumb purchase decision. It wasn't, but at the time she thought it was. No, she's been supportive on every front. You know, she's not a wife that goes, oh, you can only own guns for recreational purposes. She doesn't do that. Hey, I own guns because I want to defend against a, tyrannical government. She's like, rock on. I want to own guns because, self-defense. She's like, yeah, I support that. Came from her father. She came from a family that I'm discussing. But guess what? Those families are rare. The left attacks them. They vilify families like this. They hate them because it fights against what they are trying to accomplish. They want to be the parents. They want to be the controllers of your children, teaching them what to think, how to act, everything. What we're talking about really isn't about guns in this whole video. It's about control. It's about governmental control. And getting rid of armaments is the #1 way to control your citizenry, right? You understand that. I'm preaching to the choir. Fix the family. You will go a long ways to turning this whole thing around. But from what I'm seeing in society, it's going the opposite way. Like bad. Like the damage is done. Like good families now, they're in the minority. Oh, and by the way, if you come from a broken family, raise your hand, by the way, if you do. I do. I've talked about that on camera. It's not the end of the world for you. You start your own family. Just push all that negative history that you have over here, just tuck it away and forget about it. So you know what? I didn't come from a family like that. I came from a really awful family. But with my family, I'm going to do it right. I am going to teach my kids about guns, responsibility, sense of values, service to their fellow man, kindness, all these cool Christian principles which have made this country great and which make owning guns a non-issue. Because the value system's there. Doesn't matter if you own an AR, an AK. Guy's got a value system, good person. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. So don't feel like, oh, I'm condemned. No, I've made videos on this too. You're not. Start your own family. Do it right. That's the number one reason. Number two, and all these first three are kind of related to each other. I really like this one, and it came to me the other day. Why we are going to lose, not if, but why we will lose our gun rights in the United States of America. Number two is urbanization. Now, some of this we can change, and some of this we just can't. We have a lot of people in this country, and we're getting more every day. Those people have to have some place to live. More and more, it's in urban areas, it's in city areas, not really in rural America. I think of middle America, small town America, as the backbone of this country. I think that's where we find good people, not perfect people, no one's perfect, but good people working hard, raising their families, basically making this country what it is. You know, Mike Rowe in his show, Dirty Jobs, showed these people. They're just hardworking, good folks that make our way of life possible. By the way, Mike Rowe is awesome. And I bet you he'd agree with probably 99% of the stuff I'm talking about right here. Now, I believe it is a goal of the left to de-emphasize, to belittle middle America, small town America, rural America. That's their goal. They don't like you living in the country. It defeats their purposes. They cannot control you there. You can have guns there. That's evil. You can, I don't know, do whatever you want out there, and they don't like that. You can run your tractors, your cars, shoot off fireworks, celebrate things. No. We can't have that. So, in my opinion, and again, that's all it is, my opinion, what the left has done is attack rural America, small town America, and they belittle them, and they characterize them as dumb, backwards, inbred, white supremacists, and all these other names they've attached to these good people. Completely inaccurate, doesn't matter. That's how they characterize them. Even Hillary Clinton said it. Flyover country. What did she call them? The deplorables. There you go. That's the word, deplorables. So if you don't believe in progressivism, if you don't support it, if you live in rural America, according to the left, you are a deplorable. Okay, and there's another aspect to this urbanization as well, and it's very insidious. For instance, you have kids who were raised in these smaller towns, and they were taught through media, through television, through movies, that small town America is backwards, and then if you stay there, you're backwards, you're dumb, you're closed-minded. It's not really happening there. They're bored, and so what do? They move to the left coast, they move to the right coast, east or west coast, and they start adopting their ways of thinking. And they go, wow, this progressivism is kind of cool. I want to be cool. I want to be accepted. I'm going to adopt their way of thinking. I'm going to forget the way I was raised in small town America, and I'm going to adopt the urbanization way, the progressive way of thinking. Oh, and by the way, that does not include guns. Because if you're a true urbanite, why do you need to be armed? We're the government. We got you. Don't worry about it. Huge tenet of socialism, communism, progressivism. You don't need guns. We have them. We'll take care of you. Just trust us. So these young folks, move to these areas, and what do you know? They start thinking like them. And that leads us to the third talking point. Z-Geners, as I'm calling them, that is young people, are embracing socialism. That's a key reason why we are going to lose our gun rights in the United States. Because of these young people. Because they're not going to stay young for much longer. They're going to be in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, and they are going to be running this country. And they have entirely different ways of thinking than you do. They don't think of guns like you see on the back wall as being good. They look at these and it's pure evil. And anybody who owns them is also evil. They were taught that, right? They were taught that in their schools. Grade school, middle school, high school, definitely in the universities and colleges. So they've had decades of brainwashing going on. And what do you know? After that message has been repeated over and over that you really don't need to have guns in this country, only idiots and backwoods people own guns, they start believing it. And they look at socialism as the end-all, bright and shining light on the hill, to end all misery, to end all suffering, the answer to every question mankind has ever had. I know, they are ignorant of history. I hear what you're saying, brother. They are. They don't know history. If they did, they would never believe that. There's glaring historical examples about communism, socialism having miserably failed and only created a doctrine and environment of misery. So in their minds, though, they see, okay, we have ultra-rich people. We're not going to stay here very long, but super quick. You have ultra-rich people, so they say. You have ultra-poor people. You have some people in the middle stratus right here economically. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute wealth. We're going to empower an all-powerful government to make our decisions for us. And we're going to level the playing field in what they say. I'm post-surgery, so I can't raise this arm anymore. Is we're going to bring everybody up economically to this high level. That's what socialism and communism promises. Has it ever done that? No, never. There's no historical examples of it ever succeeding. Don't let that get in their way. It won't. They still embrace it. They love it. They love Bernie Sanders. They love OCA. That's what I call her. Octavia Cortez. Sorry, I do. And they eat that stuff up. They eat it up and they think it's awesome. Never mind that these types of governments, socialist, fascist for that matter, communist, have murdered millions upon millions of people. China, 65 million, give or take. USSR, 22 million murdered under this despotic government. Cambodia, 2 million? The list goes on and on. Never mind, they don't want facts. They don't want history. The blatantly false, acidic, and incorrect indoctrination taking place again in elementary school, middle school, high school, and definitely the colleges and universities. Oh, and by the way, in those schools, they're also being sent this message. The U.S. Constitution is invalid. It was made by a bunch of slave owners, a bunch of white supremacists. This is a message they're getting. It needs to be redone. You might want to crack open your children's textbook and see what they're saying about the Constitution. I doubt you're going to read anything pro for First Amendment or Second Amendment. Usually it's going to be kind of middle of the road if it's addressed at all. The messages that I've seen being sent, and again, I'm generalizing, but the messages I see are that the Constitution, it needs to be redone or completely revoked. That's being taught to your children, and it has been for quite some time. So the reason we're going to lose our gun rights in the United States, one of the biggest reasons, is this young generation having been indoctrinated like this year after year, school after school. They don't believe in the Constitution. And a lot of them do not have that strong family background to fight against this incorrect indoctrination. They embrace it. They believe it. Non-critically. I know, the information's out there. They could get on the internet for sure and disprove all the crap they're being taught in school. But they don't. They visit echo chambers. People who think just like they think. Their same ideas bounce off the walls. They absorb them again. They're like, yeah, we're thinking right. Yeah, the Constitution, it's outmoded. It needs to be redone. That's what's going on. It's not where we're going, it's where we are. And the young people, again, are going to be in charge of this country. And that's how many of them feel. I'm talking millions and millions of them. They want socialism. They want to get away from the Constitution. They want an all-powerful government to equalize things, to make things awesome for everybody. It doesn't happen. All it will do and all it ever has done is make everybody miserable. The government and the elites and the crony capitalists, they get, empowered. They get rich. Rest of the people, not so much. Insert East Germany example that I was raised with. My dad took tons of slides of East Germany when I was growing up. Speaking of family, here's my dad teaching me this value system to push back on this crap, which has been going on for decades. It's nothing new. And he goes, hey, if anyone ever says communism is awesome, take a look at this photo. He took a picture of the Berlin Wall and the Minefield, and there was a blown up body in it. And it was an East German trying to escape, to get out of the destitution, the misery of East Germany in like 1958. And he goes, yeah, check that out. That's what communism is all about. That's what socialism is all about. If it's so awesome, why are people willing to die to leave it? Oh, and that happened a lot. Look up the history of East Germany. How many people tried to escape and get out of there? It was so awful. And that's where this country wants to go? That's where these young people want to bring us to that? Yes. They're ignorant of history. Yes. Are they willing to learn truth? No, they're not. You talk about closed-minded, they're closed-minded. They're impervious to facts. They don't care. They'll just start calling you names, walk away, probably throw something in your face, scream, yell, holler, get emotional. That's the political environment we live in. It is. So one of the reasons we're going to lose our gun rights is because of these young people embracing socialism, and they're going to bring it to this country. Sooner or later, they will get to power. May not be the next election. It might be the next one after that. And then we're going to go down this road together, aren't we? We're going to go down the socialist road together. We're all along for the ride. We're all in that roller coaster, and we're going to find out all for ourselves all over again the histories or the lessons of history. Oh, and part of that is no guns. No guns. You can't have an all-powerful government and have an armed populace. Heavens no. We're not going to give you a means to resist. No way. Our dictates? No way. You're going to do what we say. You're going to shut up and color. There are no arms in a socialist society. I'm talking about firearms. The government is all powerful. They'll tell you everything to do. Number 4 reason that we are going to lose our gun rights, says me, nothing fancy, opinion piece, I could be completely wrong. I don't think I am, is the huge amount of apathy from most gun owners. You're not most gun owners. You watching this video. You went out of your way and searched out this video, or you saw it in your feed, you clicked on it, you're watching it, you're probably still watching it. You're not like most gun owners. You're an activist. Your eyes are open. You know what has happened. You know what is coming. You are alarmed. You're awake. You're concerned about it. You're a patriot. You believe in the Constitution. You believe in the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all the amendments. A lot of gun owners are not like this. 99.9999999% of all gun owners will never watch this video, nor would they. They could see the title. They're not going to click on it. They don't care. Why? Because they live in a state of complacency. Still, they think it's going to be A-okay. Hey, we got the Constitution. It guarantees my rights to keep and bear arms. Yeah, I got an AR-15. I got a Ruger 1022. I got a 9mm. I got a shotgun. No one's going to take them away. I'm not worried about it. Well, you should be. Because someone could and probably will someday come to get those guns. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Most gun owners are completely apathetic, proven by my own experience. I don't need data because I've seen it firsthand. We had a gun rally about 2 years ago here in Salt Lake City. Highly publicized. I made videos on it. I thought we did okay for the short notice. We had 2,000 people show up. Okay, it was good. I liked it. It was fine. But concurrently, they had an anti-gun rally, and they went on the opposite side of the state capitol. Guess how many people they had? 25,000 showed up. 25,000. Lyft, the ride service, gave free rides to those people who wanted to go to the anti-gun rally, the anti-self-defense rally, the anti-constitution rally, and mostly it was attended by young people. These pro-socialist types. The social justice warriors, they showed up in droves. I walked around that building, the state capitol building, and I looked, and I wish I would have filmed this. I didn't because I was so pissed off. But my mouth just dropped open. You can ask the TMPers with me. Like Jardine was with me, Strzok was with me. I just went, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. 2,000 versus 25,000, and those are estimates, but it was at least 20,000. I mean, they were everywhere. It was a sea of people. Anti-gun signs, anti-AR-15 signs, anti-NRA signs, name calling of every sort and description, white supremacist, racist, you name it, all the hatred and vitriol, all on display at that rally. And yet, in Utah, a state full of gun owners, how many showed up? 2,000. 2,000. Now, let me say, I'm not really into rallies anymore. I probably won't go to any more rallies because I don't think they do anything politically. I don't want to participate. And plus, rallies are going to be counter-protested. I don't want to get in the middle of all that. I retain the right to go to a rally if I want to. I might change my mind, but that's what I'm thinking right now. So rallies aren't the end-all, but it is a good barometer of political activism amongst gun owners. And from what I saw, it was abysmal. In the state of Utah, abysmal. I have gun-owning neighbors. Did they go to the rally? No. Did they know about it? Some did. I'm too busy. Too busy to write letters. Too busy to vote. Most gun owners are apathetic. And yeah, they're a frog in boiling water. The water is room temperature. Frog's just going to sit there, just slowly, incrementally bring that temperature up until it's boiling. It's too late. Frog dies. You know the example. That's the American gun owner. And as much as I love middle America, rural America, I think a lot of them fall into this category, that they're not politically active in terms of proactively defending their gun rights. They don't do it. Sit back. They're the silent majority, and those days are gone. And you cannot be a silent majority anymore. You need to be a vocal, kind of in-your-face majority. If we have any chance of turning this back, that's what has to happen. You have to be that way. You have to fight fire with fire. It's beyond that point, but it's the way it is. It's the reality that we find ourselves in. So we can live in, again, the fantasy land as a gun owner and go, oh man, everybody thinks the way I do. Everyone's rah, rah, rah. No, they don't. Most gun owners in the NRA, and some in the GOA even, they're just hunters, casual shooters. A lot of them don't own AR-15s. They don't think about it. They don't particularly like AR-15s. I'm going to come back to that, by the way. And they're just kind of there. Yeah, they like it. They know it's a, human rights organization, NRA specifically. And they go, yeah, I'll be a member. But that's all. As long as I join the NRA, I'm good. I've talked about this before. Most are apathetic. And by the way, I've tried to wake them up with my videos over the years. Had no effect. No effect. Especially now, I would have no effect. I mean, again, I would need like 3 million subscribers or more to have like word of mouth affect people. So if 3 million people watched it, maybe word of mouth travels, their neighbors get involved, and we can slowly turn around this apathy. I haven't seen it in 13 years doing TMP. It's worse now than ever, despite everything, despite the threats. Moving on. Number 5 reason that we will lose our gun rights, or at least have them seriously curtailed in the United States of America. And this is completely out of our control. It is just what it is. It's an outgrowth of, our hate-filled society. Mass shootings. You're probably just like me. Every time you hear about a mass shooting, you just cringe. You go, oh gosh, not again. You feel bad for the victims. It's horrible. It's tragic. I've made many videos on this. I'm not making any more. Just go rewatch the ones. I have nothing new to add to my feelings on mass shootings, how to prevent them, all that. Lots and lots of video out there already. But what this does, the mass shootings, in terms of losing our gun rights, is it gains support, widespread public support for banning guns. There's no turning that back. So every mass shooting, the people who are on the fence about guns, maybe they felt strongly about it, maybe they didn't. Usually they don't really have a strong opinion about it. AR-15s, for instance, AKs, for instance. But when they see the mass shootings and they hear this non-stop propaganda coming out from all the media, anti-gun, anti-constitution, disarm people, they can only listen to those messages for so long before thousands, millions of those people, those fence sitters say, you know what? It is time to ban guns. By the way, this has already happened. It has. With the latest mass shootings, this isn't going to happen. This has already happened. There are millions of people who have come over to the anti-gun side, the anti-self-defense side, and they think they're doing the right thing. They're not leftists. They're not radicals. They're not progressives. They're middle-of-the-road people. A lot of them are moderates, but they don't like what they're seeing with these mass shootings. They don't like it. And they're told by their media that it's your fault, that you, the NRA, wants people to have these guns, and they think it's reasonable that you don't. And if it means taking your guns away to prevent said tragedy, they're going to do it. Number 5 reason you're going to lose your guns, mass shootings. And every time there's a mass shooting, the anti-gun, the anti-self-defense crowd, the leftist crowd gets more emboldened and they gain more power. And from what I've seen, they're pretty powerful right now. And by power, I mean political power, the ability to affect change and pass laws, and also money. Millions and millions of dollars. And money is power. It gives you power. You can advertise, you can sway political opinion with it, public opinion with it. They have a lot more power than the so-called pro-gun lobby, which is tiny and mostly ineffective, says me, in large part, if you compare the numbers. Yeah, mass shootings, by the way, when it takes place, you know what the left already says. They say that you're just as responsible as an AR-15 owner, a law-abiding, good person with values, a family, goes to work, pays his taxes, does everything right, law-abiding, but you're to blame for that mass shooting. Why? Because you own a black rifle too. Maybe you own 10. You're the problem. That's what the left says. You're just as culpable as that shooter, says the left, says the media. Causing this suffering, causing these tragedies, you're to blame because you support the right to keep and bear arms. You're evil. That's what the media is saying. That's what the left is saying for a long time. And every time there's a mass shooting, the message grows stronger and more people believe it. Doesn't matter that it isn't true. Doesn't matter. Facts don't play anymore. Doesn't matter. What matters is what people think, what they perceive. And what they perceive is that mass shootings are caused by all gun owners. And there's really no distinction between you and the mass shooter. I am generalizing a little bit, but I have to for time. That's generally what the media is saying. And they lump you into the same category. How dare you own an AR-15? How dare you own any type of semi-automatic rifle? And soon the message will be, how dare you own any gun? We got this. You don't need guns for any reason. We'll take them. Thank you very much. And if you resist, you're going to jail. That's what's coming to the U.S. And these mass shootings, I mean, the ones that have happened in the past, dude, they have given a lot of leverage to the left. Again, lots of money to them, millions and millions of dollars flowing into their coffers. And out comes more and more propaganda along these lines. It's very, very difficult to fight against it. Now, what's lost in this mass shooting thing, and I have made videos on this as well, lots actually, is that it really does not relate to public safety. Because if you look at it, mass shootings have remained relatively flat since 2006. 19 to 25 people per year? It is awful. Nobody wants that. That's not what I'm saying. But let's look at the numbers. 15 to, I think the spike was like 27 people or something like that. But according to the media, it is our most pressing national emergency, right? Why is that? Is it because of public safety? No, it's about, again, control. The implementation of a despotic, in broad terms, government. We can't do that if the populace is armed. That's a real reason. We need to get rid of armaments in civilian hands. That's the way it is. Is it about public safety? Okay, remember the numbers. Let's just say 30 a year. We'll spike it up. 30 a year. Is it about public safety? No. For instance, annually, approximately 2.8 million people die from obesity and obesity-related causes. That's a lot of people. Again, from the World Health Organization, their 2017 statistics, counting the years 1975 to 2006, on average, 2.8 million people per year dying from obesity. Well, if we're truly worried about society, the well-being of people, the prevention of death in our society, wouldn't we address that? 2.8 million versus 30 people? You don't hear anything about it though, do you? How about 1.25 million people die of car crashes every year? This is from asirt.org, and it says nearly 1.25 million people die in road crashes each year, on average 3,287 deaths per day. An additional 20 to 50 million people are injured or disabled annually. More than half of all road accidents or deaths occur among young adults ages 15 to 44. How much do you hear about that? Do you hear about a call to ban automobiles? No, not yet. That's probably coming, but not yet. So these mass shootings, do they address a real public menace? Not really. In terms of how many people have perished in these shootings, it's minuscule. Those are just the facts. They are. I just threw two out. I could probably give you a dozen more. For time, we'll just go with those two. 1.25 million people dying annually in cars. 2.8 million dying from obesity-related causes in the United States of America. I think that's just U.S. Again, general numbers, but you get the picture. A lot of good people dying when they don't need to die. Maybe we should address that stuff. Now, focus is on guns and on the gun owner. So, number 5 reason that we are going to lose our gun rights or have them seriously curtailed is because of these mass shootings and the propaganda that emerges thereafter and bringing middle-of-the-road people to the anti-gun crowd. It's already happened. It's not happening. It's already happened. Moving on, number 6. All right. Remember, I talked about fantasy gun world, reality gun world. This is where I'm at. I hope you're over here too. But a lot of people, a lot of gun owners, and they are my brothers, they are my sisters, I still love them, but they are in fantasy world. And talking point number 6 says this: the reason we're going to lose our gun rights is because these good people, they're well-intentioned, but they're always searching and never finding. Usually they do not vote. They are politically inactive. Now, they will get enraged in commentary, both underneath videos and forums. They're very vociferous, sometimes even hateful. They are pissed. And they will tell you all the reasons why such and such organization doesn't meet their standards, why such and such candidate doesn't meet their standards. And so they are just in a, never-ending cycle of inactivity. They'll criticize a lot, they get enraged a lot, but they don't affect political change. Nothing's ever good enough for them. No one's ever good enough for them. No one. I've been in politics, at least aware of politics, since the 1980s. And I said in a previous video that I was aware of the John Birch Society, and I used to listen in the 80s. When I was a kid, I'd go there and listen to all the rants going on. And a lot of these good people, they are good people, would be in that organization. They'd be ranting on about this and that, and none of them voted. They just never thought any candidate ever met their qualifications, to include President Reagan. No, he has this fault. He's a sellout. So they sit on the sideline waiting for their never to show up perfect candidate. And so what that does is you guessed it emboldens and empowers the left, the progressives, the protectionists. So they sit on the side, never being a factor in any election. And yet they'll give all kinds of promises. Hey, one day we will arrive. One day we'll have the perfect libertarian candidate. Won't happen. Unless your candidate is elected, as I've said in other videos, they do not have political power. Without political power, they have no influence on what is going on. They have to vote and pass laws or be part of the judicial system. Other than that, they're on the outskirts looking in. They're in the shadows, making no difference. Maybe opinion leaders to some degree, but still. You have to have political power. You have to be part of the political process. They're always searching, never finding. No one's ever good enough for them. Not one candidate, no organization's ever good enough for them. No. And then they'll come to me and they want me to sign off on their, weirdo politics. They want me to think like they do. No, I'm not going to do it. Hey, you need to feel the way I do. You need to adopt all my policies and make a video of it. No, I will not. Live in the political reality of the day. Deal with what you're given. Do your best with that framework to affect change. That's what I've always done. Doesn't mean I wouldn't like it changed. I would. I would like it to be like this fantasy land, that we have no erosion of our Second Amendment rights. I would love that. I'm for that too. Is that reality? Sorry, it's not. It's not. I wish I could change it. I can't. I have no influence on that at all. But if I could wave a magic wand, I would change it and I would say, hey, Second Amendment means Second Amendment. No infringement means no infringement. I would love that. That's not the political reality. Instead, I'm over here in Realityville. That's where we need to work. With imperfect people, with imperfect candidates, with imperfect organizations, using those tools as best we can to effect change and protect the Constitution. Accept political realities. Which brings us to point number 7. And this is a big one, and I feel strongly about it, and I do not apologize for it. One reason I think that we are going to accelerate and eventually lose gun rights in the United States of America is because a lot of people are striving to weaken the NRA. Weaken the NRA. Save your breath, bro. You guys are going to your keyboards now and trying to convince how wrong Nut and Fancy is on the NRA. Don't you know the NRA was responsible for this? Here's what I know. I've been on this earth for a long time. I've seen a lot of political battles. I've participated in every single one of them, even as a kid. What I've seen the NRA do is time and time again defend our Second Amendment. Time and time again turn back state legislation like Prop 576 in Washington State that said they could go into your medical records, find whatever they wanted, and deny you the right to keep and bear arms from your medical records. Prop 76, Tanya Mataska rolled into town. NRA spent like $1 million on radio ads. That proposition was defeated. That was due not to GOA. I love GOA. I'll talk about them too, but due to the NRA. Time and time again, they have fought to keep open state ranges, local ranges. They've participated in court case after court case to defend our Second Amendment rights. Dude, don't tell me how evil and bad the NRA is. They have done a lot of good work. A TMPer under my video posted, a Nation of Riflemen, Why the NRA Rocks, posted in November 2012, I believe, asked me, hey, how do you feel about the NRA? Do you still stand behind this video? Here's my answer. Yes, absolutely. Do not leave the NRA. Anybody who says otherwise, I'm sorry. They're still a brother of mine. They're still a sister of mine. I love them still, but I completely disagree with them. Completely. Here's why, and it's just common sense. The NRA has clout. The NRA has clout. Okay, and the next talking point, we'll get more into this. You need clout to affect political change, to block this stuff coming down the pike. Right now, approximately, the NRA has 5.5 million members. GOA has approximately 2 million members, and they started in 1976, Gun Owners of America. The most clout comes from the NRA. Now, don't bother typing some enraged comment to me about how the NRA did this and did that. I'm aware of all their faults. Okay, I'm aware of the bump stock issue. I'm aware of GCA of 1968. I'm aware of their spending things that have been going on, the wastefulness of the NRA. I'm aware of all that. You know what else I'm aware of? The faults of my wife. I've been with her for 31 years now. Does she have faults? Yes, so do I. Are there things that she does that I absolutely hate? Yes, I don't like them. But I still love her. I still stick with her. She could tell you probably 100 things she hates about me. She goes, I hate how he does this. I hate how he does that. Does she fold her arms and say, you know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. This is worth a try, but I'm pitching this marriage. I'm divorcing you. I don't do that. She doesn't do that. Being an NRA member is like being in a marriage. It ain't perfect, but it's a lot better than the alternative. Don't leave the NRA. Don't leave the NRA. I cannot make that clear enough. Anybody who says otherwise, don't listen to them. I'm just saying, don't listen to them. Maybe they have good intentions, and I understand their frustration with NRA. I've talked about this. I did an NRA update a few years back on the B channel. Go watch that video. I talked about these things. I understand their faults, but it's like a marriage. The good that comes out of that marriage far, far outweighs all the annoyances. The good that comes out of being in the NRA and maintaining their political clout far outweighs the downsides of the NRA, and help them get back on track, the NRA. That would be a wise expenditure of effort, a wise expenditure of writing, of comment writing. So instead of posting a hate-filled comment towards a pro-2A guy, direct it to the NRA and say, listen, we need to get back on track. We need to stop compromising. I'm a member. I'm not going anywhere, but get your program together. It's hard for me to recruit for your organization if you're compromising all the time. That would be, again, a smart thing to do. Stay in the NRA. Now, here's the political realities which we find ourselves in, and it's probably going to get worse. Not probably, it will. The NRA is a huge organization, relatively speaking, 5.5 million members. I hope it's like 50 million, right? I may even put a link below. Use my link and join the NRA. That's how strongly I feel about them. Still, despite their warts. 5.5 million members. Again, I hope it's 20 mil soon. Numbers of political power. That is a lot of people to keep happy. Remember, not all people are like you. In fact, you represent a very tiny, 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 tiny minority of gun owners. You're politically active. You're aware of what's going on. You love the Constitution. You believe in black rifles, on and on. All that stuff I mentioned. A lot of members of the NRA don't feel that way. They like gun ownership, yes. A lot join the NRA, like I've said in past videos, because they want the option to own guns. A lot of them don't even own a single rifle, a single pistol, but they like the option and they join the NRA because, hey, maybe I want to buy a gun someday, and I don't like you taking away my right to do so. I'm going to join the NRA. It's the biggest organization that can prevent that from happening. There you go. So the NRA has a wide spectrum of political viewpoints to appease, right? So if let's say they go super, super hardcore, maybe they alienate 2 million members that go, we don't want that. Get it? That's political reality. Maybe if they go super hardcore on an issue, they have another political battle they're going to fight. Maybe it's a Supreme Court case, a court case of some type, and they need support from certain senators, congressmen. And if they go super hardcore, they're going to lose those votes or they're going to lose support. It's political realities. So again, in Fantasyville, we can say, no compromise, no compromise, no compromise. No, don't ever ban anything ever, ever, ever. Is that a realistic thing? Just historically speaking. Has that been historically proven? No. And by the way, I do agree with that opinion. I would like it that way too. But I live in Realityville. And Realityville means sometimes there's going to be a compromise that some people in the NRA are not going to like. Because maybe just coming down the pike is a much bigger issue, and they need political support to prevent that from coming. Universal gun registration would be one of those things. Banning of AR-15s would be one of those things. Magazine capacity bans nationwide would be one of those things. Does the NRA have warts? Yes. Are they perfect? No. Am I ever going to leave the NRA? I'm a life member, by the way, benefactor member. No. Not never, and I say you don't either. If you want to stave off the loss of gun rights, you better stay in the NRA. That's how I feel. No apologies. If you don't like that, I'm sorry. It's how I feel. Guys ask me, how do you feel? That's how I feel. Am I tearing up my NRA card after bump stocks were banned? Well, that's it. I'm out of here. No. Hey, I didn't like that they were banned either, but to be totally honest, I don't really care about bump stocks. I never reviewed any. But I didn't like they were banned because it's an incremental process of the loss of rights. That's what I hated about the bump stock issue. Yeah, I would have liked us to take a stand. But the immense political pressure after the Mandalay Bay shooting, you think nothing was going to pass, really? Do you really think nothing was going to pass after the huge, intense political pressure, going back to talking point number 5, mass shootings, and how many middle-of-the-road people were calling for the outright ban on AR-15s, black rifles? Do you think nothing was going to pass in today's political climate? If you do, I think you're living in fantasy world. I really do. We're talking about realities in this video. I'm not talking about fantasy land. Hey man, take a stand. Don't pass anything. Let's say NRA did take a stand. It still passes. Okay, what now? Well, They just used up some of their political clout in that battle. Maybe they're weakened for the next political battle. And by the way, there's 100 more coming our way. And that takes us to the next talking point. Stay in the NRA, please. Please stay in the NRA. Next talking point is, and this is related to the last, is we are hugely outnumbered. I estimate for every one really smart, intelligent, politically active gun owner in the United States, i.e. you, there are 20,000 anti-gun people, maybe 25,000. And again, I'm going off my own political experience, like that rally. We had 2,000 showed up, 25,000 showed up on their side. Dude, that's not a good ratio. We are hugely outnumbered. We are hugely outspent. That's why you stay in the NRA. Oh, and by the way, don't interpret this as to not joining and becoming a life member and donor to the Gun Owners of America organization. I love GOA as well. It's not an either or, it's a both. I would love GOA to have 20 million members as well, but they've had decade after decade after decade to become a large, powerful organization. It has not happened. The way you know this is you don't listen to the media and hear them talk about GOA as being a huge political force. You don't hear hate against GOA. Right now, they're calling NRA and anyone who belongs to the NRA as a terrorist, as a domestic terrorist. You. That's what the left says. City of San Francisco says anyone who belongs to the NRA as an organization is a domestic terrorist. Are they saying that about GOA? No. Why? Is it because they love GOA? They like its stance? No. It's because they don't have as much political power. They have some, little bit, and they do work hard. I love GOA. I give to them. I donate to GOA. They don't have the clout. Now, when you turn on whatever news feed you'd be misfortunate enough to listen to, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, heaven forbid, and you hear them talking about GOA. Hey, GOA needs to be destroyed. They're supporting these mass shootings. Remember, it's the opposite of what they're saying is always the truth, by the way. The opposite of what they're saying is always the truth. But if you were to ever hear that and you go, hey, guess what? GOA's arrived. They're a political force. So hand in hand with NRA, we got something. It just hasn't happened. So when I say stay in the NRA, I'm talking about this talking point, numbers. 5.5 million in the United States ain't that much, but it's something. It's enough to scare politicians. It's enough clout to exercise influence over state, local, and federal elections. And by the way, the NRA was very instrumental in getting Trump elected. They spent a lot of money to get Trump elected. Here we go. I hate Trump. Going back to talking point, what was it? 6, always searching, never finding. Yes, there's people who hate Trump. He's not a conservative. He'll sell our rights down the river. I wasn't a Trump fan. I don't want this video to be about Trump. He'll be gone soon enough. But I've become a Trump believer for what he's done. He's not a conservative. He's not a liberal. I know this. He's Trump. He's not an ideologue. He just does what he does. But he does listen to the NRA. He does listen to pro-gun voices, unlike a lot of other presidents. He's gone to NRA shows. Who else has done that? You're not going to get any better than Trump when it comes to gun rights, says me. You're not. But again, always searching, never finding. He's not perfect enough. I don't like the way he tweets. I don't like his work. He threatened to do this. He ain't perfect. But so far, his track record has been good. What does the future hold? I don't know. But from what we had to choose from in Realityville, not Fantasyville, it was Trump. And the organization that helped bring that into existence was, guess who? The NRA. The NRA had a lot to do with Trump's election. They spent millions of dollars in ads, everything, trying to wake people up, saying, listen, if you want to keep your gun rights, at least for 4 more years, elect Trump. I totally agree with that. It's the best we got going. It ain't perfect, I know. Work in Realityville. The NRA helps us maintain those numbers. Had Hillary Clinton become elected, do you think we'd have UGS, or universal gun registration, in play right now? Yep. What do you think would have happened with Hillary Clinton as our president after the mass shootings of Mandalay Bay and the others? Oh, it would have been ugly. It would have been ugly. I wouldn't even be making this video. I'd be saying, hey, man, don't forget where you buried your guns. That's what we're talking about. So we're really fighting, to be honest, in this video, I'm talking about we're fighting a delaying action. We're not winning. I don't think we're going to win. We're far too outnumbered, like I'm talking about right now. This guy wrote under my NRA video years ago. This is like years ago. This is common. He goes, Kyle G. He goes, when the NRA pushes for repeal of the NFA, I will give my money to them. I usually like your videos, but this one is horse shit. That's what he says. That guy is living over here. He's living in Fantasyville. So his pet issue is the NFA. He wants fully automatic firearms to be legalized in the United States of America. And unless the NRA can make that happen, he's not giving them a dime. Is that reality? No. Will that ever happen in today's political climate? Probably ever. No. It won't be because of the left either. It will be because of that middle centrist political voting contingent. The one that have come over, like I said, from the mass shootings and other incidents to thinking that disarmament is not such a bad idea. Yeah, and this guy, he thinks NFA is going to be overturned. I don't think so. Would I like that happening? Sure, it'd be awesome. I don't think the NFA does anything to make society safer. Any bad guy can convert a firearm to full auto. He doesn't need a trigger device. He doesn't need a bump stock. He doesn't need anything. He can do it. Evil people find evil things to do evil with. Doesn't need to be a gun. I've said that many, many times. I'm with you philosophically, but in political reality, no. And maybe insert whatever issue. Until the NRA does this, I'm going to leave them. Remember the numbers game. We are highly, highly outnumbered. Numbers, numbers, numbers. That's what wins wars. Almost always. Numbers. Here's another example to illustrate the point. Question. Did the United States win the European War due to the superiority of the Sherman tank? No. It was an inferior tank in a lot of ways to the German tanks. We know that. High profile, underarmed, poor armor. Guys died in it all the time. But we prevailed in the armored warfare category. Why was that? Thank you. Numbers. We had a lot of Sherman tanks, and we had more to follow. I looked it up. 49,324 Sherman tanks produced from 1942 to 1944. What? That's a lot of tanks. Germans, on the other hand, produced 12,000 Panzer IVs of all variants, only 492 Tigers, 6,000 Panther tanks, which was a superior tank, despite its faults, to the Sherman. All of those were, by the way. But they had a lot fewer tanks. Superior, technologically speaking? Yes, usually. Sherman tank, not that great. Here's a Panther on the back shelf right here. Do you see it? 1/72nd scale Panther. Awesome, awesome tank, despite its faults. If it had ever been perfected, and they would have produced this tank in large numbers, it would have definitely protracted World War II. They couldn't get it going. Daylight bombing raids shut the factories down. They just could not produce enough, and they were very disorganized on how many armored vehicles they were producing. It was about numbers. We had a lot of Sherman tanks and a lot of crews. That wins land wars, right? Numbers, numbers, numbers. It will win political battles too. Understand that we are highly outnumbered. There's no changing that. And again, you represent a very small percentage of gun owners, politically active, aware, all the stuff I've talked about. One of the reasons we will eventually lose our gun rights or have them seriously curtailed in the U.S. is because we are highly outnumbered, and it will get worse. Remember the young people I was talking about. As they grow older, become of voting age, take positions of power, city, state, local, federal levels, look out. I wish I could change it. I wish I could change it. I wish I could wave a magic wand. But this video, I'm sorry, is about reality. Number 9 reason I think this will happen is that daily there is rage created and fueled by the media. Rage. Rage against gun owners. Maybe it's springboarding off a mass shooting. It's daily. That all Americans, if they turn on pretty much any channel, are going to get fed a line of propaganda on guns. They're evil. They create death and destruction in the United States. Never mind that the vast, vast majority of guns in this country serve great purposes. They're in the hands of responsible, cool, stable individuals like yourself. Never mind that. Those facts are never going to be represented because they have a political agenda, again, to take Guns away so they can enact an ever-powerful government controlling every aspect of your life. Says me. Never mind, that message is not going to be sent. What's going to be sent, again, is that gun owners are evil. Pretty soon you will be classified. I know the city of San Francisco has done this already, but it will become more widespread. You'll be classified as a domestic terrorist. Just because you have a gun. Just because you have an AR-15, maybe several. Facts don't play, logic does not count. Don't expect it to count. It is nothing but a huge hate fest against the Constitution, against the Second Amendment, against gun owners. And it convinces a lot of people. A lot of non-critical thinkers, you bet, they come over to that side. And they will never leave it. Yeah. You're dangerous. You're a danger, to the United States being a gun owner. That message is out there daily on every channel. It brainwashes a lot of people. Never mind every other talking point that I've mentioned to this point. That is a key reason that eventually we will lose this fight. I'm just being honest with you guys. One way we can curtail it and fight an effective delaying action is by funding organizations like GOA and NRA, where they can push back with purchase media, if that works. A lot of times they won't even take NRA dollars. If they want to run a political ad, a lot of networks go, yeah, we're not doing that. We don't want you to have a voice. Yeah. They don't believe in diversity of opinion. They don't believe in diversity of thought. They believe in one thought, and that is the leftist progressive point of view. NRA rolls in. They go, hey, we'll pay your standard rates. We want to run a political ad for this candidate. We want to get into this issue. Some stations go, nope, we're not taking your money. You can't weigh into the battle. Talk about Google. Google does this in their search results. All the tech companies do it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they all do this. They fight tooth and nail against these voices getting heard. They do not want that. The media constantly foments rage against gun ownership in the United States, and they are effective in doing so. And they own the media companies. They own YouTube, they own Google, they own Instagram, they own Facebook, and on and on. And constantly from these media sources, never mind mainstream television, this message emerges and it convinces, again, millions and millions of people. Incorrectly, doesn't matter. Facts don't matter. No, forget it. That's the number 9 reason, wrapping it up. And last, but definitely not least, one of the reasons I think we will lose our gun rights here in the United States of America is because there is no unity amongst gun owners. Gun owners fight against each other, not the political opposition. What? It's true. I've been in this game a long time, doing TMP for 13 years. I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of comments. I know what's going on online amongst gun owners. I have a good feel for the gun community. There's a lot of fragmentation. There's a lot of disunity. There's a lot of hate from one faction of the gun community against another. Against Nut and Fancy. How dare you make this video, Nut and Fancy? How dare you? I hate you. I'm going to unsub. No, I don't like what you say. I'm going to go live in Fantasyville. Screw you. Just like that one comment. I could read you like a bunch more. I have a whole bunch of stuff printed out. I don't have time to read it all. Disunity. United we stand, divided we shall fall. I said that in my last video posted on the B channel a couple of years back. I don't think it got any traction. Participation rate on that video was about 0.5% of subscribers. Yeah, I just don't have the support for these videos. I don't. But I truly believe that we have to be united. Stay in the NRA, despite its faults, join the GOA, give to both. We're highly outnumbered. We don't have time for infighting. And yet you'll see it here, you'll see it everywhere. Gun owners fighting against each other in the forums, beneath the videos. F you, screw you, I don't think. Are you kidding me? You know, you have the enemy marching over the hill by the tens of thousands, and you guys are fist fighting right now with each other on the front line. That's like troops as they're getting ready to land in their landing craft in D-Day, Omaha Beach. They're fist fighting each other. They're getting ready to land on the beach and take a beach. They have machine gun bullets sailing over their heads. And let's say 2 soldiers have a disagreement and they're fist fighting in the landing craft. Would that make a lot of sense? Holy shit, it doesn't. And yet you see it constantly online. You see it constantly beneath my videos. Now, I'll run comments initially on this video, but if me, Tactical Doodle, my moderators who are TMPers who've been with the project a long time, if they don't like what they see, I'm going to shut down comments. I am. I'm just going to shut it down because I ain't going to have it be a hotbed of hate and dissent. Anything that does not work towards more unity in the gun community, I'm against. Anything that says, hey, we need to tear down the NRA, I'm against. Hey, you need to come and speak at this rally. By the way, we hate the NRA. Forget it. Never, ever, ever. Go get another YouTuber. I'm sure there's others that would love that. Never, won't do it. So much hate and dissent amongst gun owners. With all that's going on, with all that I've discussed, you think we have time and the luxury to engage in that nonsense and that rhetoric and that rage? I don't think so. We're brothers, we're sisters in the same cause. We may have some differences. Put them aside, see the big picture, fight the political battles. We're fighting a delaying action, guys. That's the way I see it. I mean, the cards are so intensely stacked against us. I've only covered a few points in this video. In summary, broken families, bad parenting, urbanization, the loss of rural America, the de-emphasis on small towns, the demonization of rural America by the left. Number 3, Z-Genners embrace socialism. I talked about that. That's huge. Apathy of most gun owners. Talked about that. Mass shootings and how they will sway the middle of the roaders to come to the anti-gun, the anti-self-defense side. By the way, that's already happened. Not going to happen. It's happened. 6, always searching, never finding. Nothing's ever good enough for anybody, so they don't participate in the political process at all. And therefore, more leftists are elected. They pass more anti-gun legislation. Welcome to your future. Number 7, weakening of the NRA. I mean this. I feel strongly about it. I give no apologies for that. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I still love you. Respect my opinion, but that's how I feel. I'm not moving off that because that is the most effective way we're going to stave off the loss of our rights. I'm talking big stuff. Universal gun registration, banning of guns, banning of magazines. And yes, the NRA is flawed. They need to be purified. We need strong members of the board. We need a strong president. Let's work it. Let's not get divorced. That's not the answer. Let's fix it. Number 8, rage is fueled by the media. And by the way, television shows, comedians, movies, daily against gun owners. All of that is lapped up by the general public. It has a lot to do with where we are right now and where we will be. Last but not least, again, don't fight against each other. We don't have time for it. You don't have energy. Fight against the opposition. Spend that time writing your congressman. Spend that time sending off money to the GOA, NRA, to their political action committees. Spend that time writing letters to the editor, doing what you can to be a good patriot, to be a good principled gun owners. Does that mean we will win the fight eventually? I wish I could tell you yes. I would love to be able to tell you yes. I can't do it in good conscience. I think, like I say in the title, sooner or later, we're going to lose this battle. Sooner or later, gun registration is going to come down the pike. You're going to have a certain period of time where you better register. If you don't, you're going to be a felon. Now, by that time, just like you, I will have sold all my guns. It's just not worth the hassle. And I'll move on to other things. Reviewing multi-tools, reviewing air guns, reviewing more knives, clothing, stuff like that. I did a poll with my Patreon members. By the way, join TMP Patreon. Stay in there forever. It's working for now. And I did a poll. I said, hey, if gun registration comes down, and you have, let's say, 6 months to register your AR-15. If not, you're going to be convicted of a felony if you're ever caught with it. Would you register? 87% said they would not. That's good news. Absorb that number. And by the way, I think I had like hundreds and hundreds answer the poll. So I think it's statistically representative of at least my audience. Now, granted, the Patreon guys and gals are elite. They are. And maybe 87% is optimistic. But let's break it down. Let's just say 70% of gun owners in the United States of America refuse to register their guns. AR-15s, Ruger 1022s, semi-automatic pistols, semi-automatic shotguns. They go, no, I'm not doing that. And by the way, this is all fictitious. I mean, none of this has passed. That's just, I don't know, theoretical. But let's just say, this is a fictitious example. 70% say, no, I'm not registering. That, my friends, is an unenforceable law. You can't enforce a law like that. Even if it's 50%, you cannot enforce it. It's unenforceable. Incidentally, can it be enforced? Sure. Will it mean that it will lead to bad things in this country? Yes. Will it mean that there could be bloodshed in this country? Hard to say, but from what I know about the gun community and from what I know about people in this country, I would say yes. Could it lead to destabilization of the U.S.? Don't know. Can't answer that. I don't know. There's a lot of people that think that it would and will. But that's an unenforceable law. Okay, what they will most likely do is just make them unobtainable in the future, make ammunition unobtainable, make shooting and practicing with your guns impossible. Those are big wins for the left. They're big wins for the anti-self-defense crowd. I think that is coming to the United States. That's what the future holds, and there's a lot more reasons that I haven't covered in this video. Again, I wish I could bring happier news, more, upbeat news about the gun issue, but this is where we are. You sense the political environment. It ain't coming from me. I'm an observer just like you. But this is where we are, and it's going to get worse. It really is. Be a patriot, stay strong, stay politically active. I believe in principled resistance, politically and peacefully, upholding the rule of law as always. This is Lieutenant Colonel Nut and Fancy, sworn to uphold the Constitution of these great United States. Signing off. Thanks for watching. Stay subbed. See you later.